Welcome back to Main Street Living. Joining us right now is a rather, I hope, animated guest coming from Warner Animation Studios. We have production designer Michael Kurinsky. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to have you. Good to be here. Thanks.
Oh yeah, I know. It's hard to communicate now at this point. I haven't seen any people. I've been stuck inside. How are you doing in this quarantine right now, Michael?
Doing really well. My family and I are doing great. I've grown my mandatory quarantine beard.
Of course.
You know, I've watched Tiger King like everybody else.
Of course.
I haven't baked any bread, which seemed to be like a big thing on Facebook that people were doing. So
there's no pans left.
Yeah, I need to get to that. But after I do that, I can check off all my quarantine check boxes. But no, otherwise, we're doing really great. So
That's great. So I know I mentioned production designer. You work in the animation kind of area of the entertainment industry, but very familiar with the rest of it. What can you kind of tell us about what's going on currently?
Well, yeah, I mean, the entertainment industry is taking a pretty hard hit. A lot of the live action stuff, you can imagine with quarantine and not having, groups of, more than a few people together, you can't have a soundstage filming a sitcom with a bunch of people in there. So those things have gotten shut down, or productions on a film where there's hundreds of people around, shooting. You can't have those kind of situations anymore. So a lot of the live action stuff has shut down for the moment. And it's really sad because that puts, you think not just the people in front of the camera, the actors, but the people behind the camera shooting it and all the people, all the grips and people who build sets and everything, that's putting them in an awkward place right now. So that part of the industry, unfortunately, is shut down. And then you see what late show talk show hosts have done where they're doing it from their home, just like we're doing here. But the one sort of avenue that has maintained its ability to stay afloat is animation. It's amazing when I'm talking to all of my friends who work in a lot of the different aspects of animation, be it TV or film, how in like a week, everyone, their IT people, their IT teams have stepped up, brought equipment to their houses, and animators are working from home. Lighting people are working from home. Obviously, writers can work from home, and even voice actors are doing it from their house. I even finaled all the last shots on the movie I was currently, that we just wrapped up, Scoob, which will be coming out soon. I finished that in my living room, in my sweatpants, which was very unusual for me.
Oh, wow. Sweatpants. That's ideal, right? Especially when doing some animation, I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. As am I.
It's business on top, it's sweatpants on the bottom. So, yeah.
So you mentioned the film Scoob, which is the first all CGI or CG version of Scooby-Doo, right?
Yes. It's really exciting. Yeah.
So you mentioned it's still coming out in May. So how have you guys been able to produce that and still get it out in time?
Yeah, so it is. It's coming out May 15th on video on demand. So pretty much all the platforms that you can buy or rent movies from should have it for you. And like I said, we were weeks away from being finished for the theatrical release as it was planned. And then all of this happened. And so like I said, I had monitors brought to my house. We worked with different kinds of softwares, and I had shots sent to me, and I was looking at them on those monitors and filing them and getting it ready. I only had to actually go in to Warner Brothers and sit and look at final color in a theater 2 times, and it was just one other person in that room, so it was very safe.
Right.
And it was a ghost town on this lot that's usually bustling, which was really weird. There was nobody there. But the point is that we were so close to being finished that we found a way, just like everybody else in the animation industry has been doing, we found a way to finish this, get our content ready, and the movie is done and ready for people to watch. And they will be in 2 weeks from now.
That's awesome. That's amazing that you guys are able to do so much from home. Have you felt like, I feel like across the board for people working at home, they didn't realize how much they can actually do at home. Is that something that you think is going to be something we do more of moving forward out of this? Or is it something where you guys work better when you're in the same room?
You know, that's funny. Yeah, I was thinking about this. Like, when I'm just doing art, I get very lost, and hours will go by. So being at home is kind of great. That like I can just sit and paint and paint, and I'll look up, and 3 hours has gone by. And a lot of artists are like that. We just like to get into our heads and get into our world and do the artwork. But then there's times where, so that's just being strictly an artist. But as a production designer and a manager of a team, being in the office and being able to go and look over people's shoulders and kind of art direct them on the work that they're doing, that interaction is kind of crucial. But, you know, I had people on my team, now I think about it, that were working remotely because they were great artists I wanted to work with, but, you know, like they were in San Francisco. So I would look over their shoulders via Zoom or something like that, like, you know, how we're doing now. So everything can be done. It all can work that way. But yeah, the human interaction is in animation and making movies, the sort of the team and that camaraderie. I feel like it shows through in the artwork, that when we're all excited together about making something that we feel really passionate about, we could do it separated, but there's something about us doing it together that shows in the artwork, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I want to go ahead and jump and take one of our questions from our viewers. Karen Ensley asking, how many artists are typically on a team?
You know, I've had different numbers. This for Scoob, it was lean and mean. Off the top of my head, it was like 2, 4, 6, 8. There was about maybe no more than at the highest point, maybe a dozen of us making this. And that includes me and my art director. So it was like a team of 10. And then the two of us. But when it goes into production and becomes 3D, it's hundreds, literally hundreds of people making this movie. But the art team that designs the movie was pretty lean and mean to make Scoob.
That's unbelievable. Hundreds of people at work and all working from home.
They were at the end. Yeah, I know our production house, Real Effects, all the artists that were up in Canada, which I visited a lot and got to know these people. On those very last weeks when we had to finish those last shots, they were working from home. I guess, you know, their IT people got them set up and they were doing it. So yeah, like we said, it can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask one of our viewers, I mean, we have 2 more questions at least for you, but one of them asked, how have you been able to, or have you been able to stay on the same schedule while working from home?
My schedule, the thing is, like I said, when I'm doing art, working from home, because it's there and we have nothing to do and nowhere to go, I will work so many more hours. And I shouldn't say this because work will be like, maybe we'll get more work out of him, because I'll just work on it day and night, because I'll look over, see my computer. I'm like, well, I know that painting's on there. I'm going to go sit down and do it. And I know I've already put in my 8 hours or 9 hours today. But I just keep going because it's there and it's fun and it's what I've done my whole life. So yeah, so my work schedule is I try to keep it close to when I usually start during the day and when I finish, but I find it extends.
Of course. And you mentioned seeing a painting on your computer. I know that early in your career you were with Walt Disney, right? And you did painting for some sets. One of our questions from our viewers is what was your first big break getting into major animation studios?
It was Walt Disney. I'll tell a quick story. It was right after The Lion King came out, and Walt Disney was getting, Disney Feature Animation, I should say specifically, was getting, I heard some number like 1,000 portfolios a week from all around the world because they were hiring. I actually saw an ad in Animation Magazine that was like this 2-page spread, and it said, "We want your portfolio." And I sent my portfolio in, I brought it in. And when I brought it in there were hundreds of them on the floor in front of the front receptionist's desk. And I put it down there and I thought, I'm never going to see this portfolio again. It's just going to get lost in this sea. Because there were hundreds. People wanted to work for Disney. And after 2 months of a review process, I got hired as a trainee in the background painting department. And I mean painting, like actual with brush paint on illustration board. I did that for almost 10 years, painting traditionally, and worked my way up through there at Disney. I would hope so. So Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, Atlantis,
Oh, we have
Yeah,
so much to thank you
Fantasia
for, Mike. There's
2000.
so much to thank you for.
It was so much fun, and it was sort of like my finishing school. Like I had went to art school, and then working for Disney, I got to work around some of the most talented people ever, and you absorb from them. They teach you. It's a very apprenticeship kind of relationship that they have there. So it was a great place to make me. I was a decent painter when I came in, and within a year of being there, I was so much better just because of who I was around and how you just kind of absorb and sponge that all in. And then from there, I was there for a while, and then I left and went to Sony Pictures Animation and worked there for 14 years on titles like Open Season, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the Hotel Transylvania series. So yeah, and now I'm at Warner Animation Group, and like I said, just finished on the heels of finishing and the release of Scoob.
Oh, you're getting some beard love on here as well. Yes, Scoob is coming out. Remind us what day Scoob is coming out on demand so that we can all make sure that we schedule it in.
Yeah, so it's Friday, May 15th. So just about 2 weeks from now, it'll be coming out. And like I said, it'll be on pretty much all the platforms that wherever you buy or rent movies from. And it will be available for both those ways. You can rent it for, I think it's a 2-day period, it'll be a rental, or you can just buy it and own it straight out already. So that's kind of cool if you're a big Scoob fan, which here's just a sidebar a little bit. Like, yeah, I was a fan. I grew up watching Scooby-Doo. Scooby turned 50 last year. So 50 years of people watching Scooby-Doo. I didn't realize how many fans this franchise has. It's amazing. In the 2.5 years that I've been on it, I have heard from people on Twitter and Facebook and everything, and everybody has a Scooby-Doo story. Everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, one of our viewers just asked, it's such a classic, and he was wondering, do you feel pressure updating the characters to 3D?
Totally. Oh my gosh, it was because I have such respect for the designer. Iwo Takamoto was the original designer of all the Scooby-Doo gang, and a brilliant artist. And you're like, okay, I'm not going to step on Iwo's toes. But we are making it in 3D. And it was a 2D show, and the translation of that, just the translation, if you tried to do exactly what you saw in the line drawings, it's still going to look different because those were meant to be seen at certain poses, but never meant to be seen fully turned and textures and everything like that. So yeah, and then we just wanted to own it for our movie. This is If you look at the history of Scooby-Doo, there's been many different iterations and many different shows. And if you look at all of those different shows, every one of those creators took their liberties with it. Costumes were slightly different, hair and things like that. Some were very traditional, and others changed it. So we wanted to own it for this new generation of hopefully of Scooby followers and the first CG version of them, So yeah, you're getting it from people who are extreme fans. Like we didn't want to hurt it in any way.
That's such a huge part of it, I think, is that you guys are actually fans of it as well. So you want to do it justice. And I have to ask, I know one of our producers is dying for me to ask, do you ever put any Easter eggs in? Do you ever put any Easter eggs in when you're doing the animation?
Oh my gosh, this movie is full of them.
Because we all missed Easter. We all missed Easter. So tell me you have some.
Yeah. Oh my God. So you can go Easter egg hunting big time. If you know even this much about Hanna-Barbera and the world of Scooby-Doo, you will find something in this movie. I guarantee it. So the director is Tony Cervoni, and he is a longtime veteran of Scooby-Doo and Warner Brothers. And his knowledge of those two properties are insane. Mine is pretty good. His is insane. And between the two of us, sometimes we were just doing it for us. It would be like, hey, you know what we should put in on that billboard? You know what we should call that sign? You know what we should call this street name? And everything is a nod to something. Nothing is on this thing. If there's something named it or a business name, it all is something. So you will find many, some are very inside and some are very obvious. So yeah, a lot of Easter eggs.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael, for giving us something to look forward to and also giving us some tips on where we can find those Easter eggs. Again,
Cool.
Remind us that it's coming out May 15th, right? Video on demand. So if you guys want to watch Scoob, which I think we all do at this point, right? We're all looking for those Easter eggs, and make sure you guys get that video on demand. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
All right, guys, stay around. Next up, if you are doing any kind of homeschooling, we have a look at an online nature lab, so don't move.